My book is called His Father's Disease, and I wrote these stories over a period of 10 years. The first story I wrote was in 2010, just before moving to the US to study in graduate school. Then I finished my graduate school, went back to India, wrote some stories, and then I came here, I wrote some stories here. But I'm going to read from this story called The Love Lives of People Who Look Like Carl Penn. Once, when I was here, it was November, and I had never seen snow in my life, so I really wanted to see snow. I went to a conference on human rights and literature, and where I had a very interesting encounter with a woman, and I developed this into this story and created some characters not based on real life. The love lives of people who look like Carl Penn. A friendly woman sits next to Arunav on the flight. She carries a bottle of green liquid. Must be vitamin water. People here drink a lot of vitamin water, he thinks. She introduces herself as Sandy. Sandy is chatty. She tells him she teaches history in a community college and asks if he is from New York. He says he is from India. He doesn't say that he is from Tinsukia, since he's sure she has never heard of his hometown. There is no reason for her to know of it, just as there is no reason for him to visit East Lansing, Michigan, had it not been for this conference. When the flight takes off, Sandy unties her red hair and asks him if he has grown up in New York for the third time. And he says no, he hasn't for the third time. He wants to look out of the window, but she has the window seat, and he is worried that if he looks that way, she'll ask him more questions, try to pronounce the name of his hometown, fail and laugh, apologize, laugh again, and that's how they were likely to spend the next half an hour. So he doesn't look out. He tries to nap instead, but she wakes him up when she has to use the restroom and apologizes profusely. It is okay, he says, though he's irritated. It is not her fault, he thinks. When she returns, she requests the air hostess for a bottle of chilled water and some peanuts, then calls her again and specifies that she wants roasted but unsalted peanuts. The air hostess says she'll check and get back to her. It would have snowed in Michigan by the time they reach, Sandy says. She's worried about the snowfall, but he says it is okay. He has never seen snow and would love to see and feel it for the first time. She's surprised and asks him how far the Himalayas are from his hometown. And he says very far as Alaska. He doesn't mean it, and he doesn't care if she believes it. They talk about climate change and online dating, about traveling to Greece when they have money, about a lack of jobs, but he doesn't tell her that he is new in the United States, that small town Minnesota, all this conversation about the impending winter, people saying geez all the time, and sorry and thank you all the time, are his first glimpses of this country. He doesn't tell her that he's going for a conference, that he signed up for it earlier that year, that he didn't know the venue was in the middle of nowhere, or that his flight would be so small with only 2 rows of seats, small enough that a strong gust of wind might cause it to crash. There are no shuttles from the airport to the university. The cab cost $185. He is upset, but has no choice. It is November, and the air is nippy, even chilly. At the airport lounge, Sandy and Arunav wait together for their rides after she calls her boyfriend. When her ride arrives, they shake hands and they say goodbye. She smiles and says she will find him on Facebook, to which he nods and smiles back. The kind of smile that doesn't show teeth but conveys measured warmth. Then he adds that it would be good to connect and worries if she will get his last name right, Borkakoti. She says she loves India and has plans to visit once she is married. She is going to marry the man who is coming to pick her up. And I'm not marrying the person who is coming to pick her up. He cracks a sad joke. Before leaving, she pauses and asks if she could tell him something. Yes, sure. All right. I've been thinking since I met you, and I wasn't sure if I should say it. Oh, come on, just say it. He laughs. All right. You remind me so much of Carl Penn. He's like my favorite actor. I mean, he has grown older and put on a little weight, but he's absolutely adorable. And I think you look like him quite a lot, do you know? Ornav's heart sank a little bit because he didn't want to look like Carl Penn. He forces out a smile and says, never thought about that. Sandy's lips form an inverted U. It is the kind of expression that people make when they know they have said something offensive, but also know that it isn't very offensive, and this somehow absorbs them. But Ornav is silent for several seconds, not knowing what her expression is all about. She rolls her eyes, moves the inverted U slightly to her left, and adds quickly, as if to fill the awkward silence. As in a younger, handsome Kalpen Moody? He wants to say actually it is Moody, not Moody. But all he can say is, oh, haha. He knows his smile isn't reaching his eyes, so he exerts a mild force on his lips to keep up the smile for a little longer and adds another haha. But he can feel his smile and the goodbye expression slipping. He tries to bring them back and wonders if he's looking like a fool. He decides to reject her friend request on Facebook, even if she gets his last name right. See you, we'll connect later. See you, he says. He doesn't want to look like Kalpen. He isn't flattered that she thinks he looks like Kalpen. His cab driver Jim can't pronounce his last name either. Mr. Bukake? Hi, I'm from Clinton County Cabs. Ornav tries not to laugh and wonders if Jim knows the meaning of the word Bukake. He doesn't mind because there isn't a chance that they will send each other friend requests. Also, he doesn't mind because there is nothing to mind. Jim wears a blue denim jacket, has black hair, and one of his front teeth is missing. He has tobacco stains on his gums, but smiles broadly and is extra friendly. His name is easy to pronounce. He is 6 feet tall. It is 5 in the evening. The pre-winter November air in Michigan is sharp on his face and neck. Jim mumbles that it is going to snow and starts the car. Inside the car, Ornav takes off his cap, sits comfortably, pulls down the zip of his woolen coat, looks at the sky, and hopes it will snow. He wants to see snow, touch snow, and walk on snow. He doesn't say that to Jim, of course, because then Jim would know that he is new in this country. Jim turns on the heating and Ornav feels warm and sleepy, but he doesn't want to sleep, even though the journey is going to be long and lonely. In 20 minutes, they have left the city behind, and for miles and miles, he sees no human beings or houses, not even birds. He looks out, enjoying the fall colors, since there is nothing else to look at. The warm, comfortable car makes him feel lazy, and he doesn't feel like revising his conference paper, or making calls, or checking Facebook. Years later, when he speaks about this journey, he won't remember whether the cab drove through downtown East Lansing, cutting through the campus of the large state university, or even if East Lansing had a downtown at all. He won't remember whether he saw Jimmy Joe's, Papa John's, Olive Gardens, Applebee's, Burger King, and other restaurants. But he will remember how the trees are running away from him. He will remember that he didn't want to look like Kalpen, and that he studied his reflection in the rearview mirror, and more than once had considered asking Jim whether he actually had any resemblance with Kalpen. And he'll always remember the fall colors, his first fall in this country. The gold, the yellow, the orange, the red, the blue sky that is slowly turning gray, and his yearning for snow. Soon it will be dark and he will still be wondering if he actually looked like Kalpen. He's sure he doesn't want to look like Kalpen.